When Arya first met Ethan, it wasn't in some grand or magical way. It was quiet, almost forgettable. The kind of encounter that doesn't seem important until years later when you realize it changed everything. They were college classmates. Ethan, the shy architecture student who always sat near the window, sketching in his worn notebook, and Arya, the bright, curious literature major who loved stories about soulmates and destiny. They became friends slowly, over shared coffees, group projects, and late-night talks that drifted between dreams and fears. Ethan never confessed his feelings. He thought love was something you earned, not something you confessed too soon. Arya liked his calmness. He listened when everyone else tried to impress. But as life moved forward, timing wasn't kind. When Arya's family faced financial hardship, she met Adrian, Ethan's best friend, who came from a wealthy family and offered her stability. Adrian wasn't cruel. He was charming, successful, and deeply cared for her. Ethan, torn between friendship and love, buried his feelings. He stood beside them at their wedding, smiling while his heart quietly shattered into 1,000 unspoken pieces. Years passed. Ethan moved to another city, built a career designing homes for others, while living alone in one filled with silence. He told himself he was fine, that some loves weren't meant to be lived, only remembered. Arya and Adrian's life, from the outside, looked perfect. Big house, social events, vacations, laughter for cameras. But inside, cracks were forming. Adrian became distant, buried in work. An Arya, who once found comfort in his stability, began to feel trapped by it. She missed laughter that came naturally, conversations that didn't end with polite smiles. One autumn, Ethan received a letter, handwritten, unmarked. It was from Arya. She'd found an old sketch he made for her in college. A drawing of a house overlooking the sea, something he once said he'd design for her someday. She wrote, "Do you still believe in the dreams we left behind?" His heart raced as he read it over and over, wondering if it was real or just nostalgia playing tricks. A few weeks later, fate intervened. Ethan was invited to design a lakeside retreat commissioned by Adrian's company. When he walked into the meeting room, Arya was there, her eyes meeting his across the table, the same eyes that once looked at him like a promise never spoken. The room faded. Time rewound. Their conversation was polite at first, like strangers pretending not to remember. But that night, Arya called. "I shouldn't be saying this," she said softly, "but I never forgot how you looked at me back then. Like I mattered." Ethan didn't answer right away. He knew the cost of reopening a wound, yet something inside him whispered that maybe destiny was giving them another chance. Not to rewrite the past, but to finish the story left incomplete. They began to meet under excuses, project discussions, site visits, but each meeting carried a weight of what-ifs. Arya laughed again, genuinely this time, and Ethan found himself sketching with the same spark he lost years ago. Still, guilt lingered like a shadow. Arya was married, and Ethan had promised himself never to betray his friend. But love, real love, doesn't always follow rules. It grows where it's least expected. One night during a storm, as they reviewed blueprints in a small cabin near the lake, the power went out. The world outside vanished into darkness, and all that remained was the sound of rain and two hearts beating in sync after years apart. Arya whispered, "Do you ever think about what could have been?" Ethan replied quietly, "Every single day." She looked down, tears in her eyes, and said, "I think I married the wrong man." Ethan! He wanted to hold her, to tell her she wasn't wrong, just human. But instead he said, "Maybe you just met the right one at the wrong time." That night, nothing happened. No confessions, no betrayal, just silence heavy with love unspoken. When morning came, Arya left, leaving behind her scarf and a note. Sometimes love means walking away before it destroys what's left. Ethan held the note for days. Then weeks, months later, Adrian called him unexpectedly. His voice was weary. "Ethan, she's gone," he said. For a moment, Ethan's heart stopped, until Adrian clarified. "She left me, said she needed to find herself." Ethan didn't ask where she went. He already knew. The sea. The house from his sketch. He drove for hours, until the coastline appeared, waves crashing against the rocks like an echo of every heartbeat he'd ever ignored. And there she was, standing by the water, hair dancing in the wind, tears mixing with salt spray. She turned when she heard his footsteps. No words were needed. They both knew they had come full circle. Arya smiled softly. "You built it," pointing to the small cottage behind her. His design, their dream. "I just finished it," he said, voice breaking. They didn't run into each other's arms. They simply stood there, side by side. Two souls who had been broken, healed, and found again by destiny's gentle cruelty. Arya confessed she'd spent years trying to be what others expected, until she realized happiness wasn't comfort. It was connection. She told Ethan she hadn't left Adrian for him. She left because she needed to be true to herself. Ethan understood. They spent the evening walking along the beach, sharing stories not of what was lost, but of what remained, their bond, their laughter, their faith that love always finds its way back. As the sun set, painting the sky in gold and crimson, Ethan finally said what he had kept for so long. "I loved you then. I love you now. And I probably always will." Years later, people in the small coastal town would often see them sitting on the porch of that cottage, coffee mugs in hand, talking as if the world outside didn't exist. No one knew the full story, only whispers about two people who waited a lifetime to be together. But if you ever visited, you'd feel it, the quiet, enduring warmth that filled the air around them. It wasn't the kind of love that burned quickly. It was the kind that stayed, steady and unshakable. Like the tide returning to shore, no matter how many times it drifts away. Because sometimes, love doesn't happen when you want it. It happens when it's meant to.